Let's now bring up to speed with news around the world, into Africa and across the nation Nigeria. You're welcome to ITVS World News. My name is Akbo Idowu. Residents of Nigeria in the village in northwest state of Katsina are fleeing their homes after armed men stormed a nearby military camp before setting ablaze and ransacking the area. More than 100 gunmen attacked the military base, which hosts soldiers, police and other security members and forces in the Batsari local government area of Katsina State on Sunday night. A military source told newsmen that the attackers burned down 2 army vehicles, but no soldier was killed, according to the source. A resident told the Reuters news agency that the gunmen who arrived on motorcycles and a truck overwhelmed the military forces after a 3-hour exchange of gunfire. After the assault on the military camp, the gunmen moved into Nahuta, where they looted shops and homes, stealing goods and livestock worth millions of naira. The attack has caused widespread panic among residents, many of whom have fled to nearby villages to seek refuge. According to reports, armed gangs known locally as bandits who kidnap for ransom have wreaked havoc across Nigeria, killing hundreds despite numerous military operations across the country. Jetting away shortly from Nigeria to Mauritius, where authorities in Mauritius are assessing the damage after Cyclone Bilal brought torrential rain and flood into the Indian Ocean island nation Mauritius. The country's meteorological service said the storm was now moving away eastward, but warned that other environmental risks still existed. At least 1 person has died in Mauritius and another on Reunion. About 100 vehicles were damaged and abandoned by their owners as a result of floods that hit the capital, Port Louis, on Monday. But flood levels substantially decreased on Tuesday today, and authorities were able to clear up debris from the streets. The Mauritius Meteorological Service, MMS, said in a report that a safety bulletin was now in force as the storm was moving away from Mauritius, and this came a few hours after it announced it was raising alert to 4, the maximum level. It said the storm was now moving eastward in the direction of the Indian Ocean at a speed of about 18 km per hour. On Monday, Prime Minister Pravind Kumar Jugnauth confirmed 1 death and criticized the MMS for its response to the storm. Videos showed severe flash flooding in Port Louis, as well as cars submerged in fast-flowing floodwaters. The International Federation of Red Cross Africa said that more than 1,000 people had been evacuated and about 8,400 people in Mauritius were without power. Despite warnings, Reunion, a French overseas territory, appeared to have been spared the worst of the cyclone as the eye of the storm passed to the north. And here is the report. Drifting away now from Mauritius to Liberia, where Liberia's outgoing president, George Weah, has said he has no plans of seeking re-election in 2029 after his defeat in recent elections. Mr. Weah, a former international footballer, was elected in 2017 but lost in November polls to Joseph Boakai, who is due to be inaugurated on Monday. Addressing church congregants on Sunday on the outskirts of the capital, Monrovia, Mr. Weah said he would be 63 in 6 years and would not be willing to be active in politics beyond 65. Mr. Weah said he needed time for himself, children and family. He added appreciating Liberians for their support in becoming their president. He did not reveal, however, what he planned to do next, but said he would promote peace and prosperity in his country. In his widely praised concession speech on November, Mr. Weah said his Congress for Democratic Change (CDC) party would remain a strong opposition across the nation. From Liberia now to Kenya, where Kenya's Chief Justice Martha Koome says the judiciary has written to President William Ruto seeking to address concerns raised about judges in the country. President Ruto has in recent days mounted war against judiciary, accusing some unnamed corrupt judges of working with the opposition to block his government's projects. Addressing a media conference on Monday, Ms. Kume said the attacks against the judiciary were setting up the country for chaos and anarchy. Ms. Kume added that if the course is allowed to continue unabated, the country is on the precipice of a constitutional crisis that can lead to untold civil strife. Meanwhile, opposition leader Raila Odinga has accused Mr. Ruto of trying to intimidate judges while a group of lawyers staged protests last week condemning the president's attack. The president, who came to power in September 2022, has come under criticism for introducing new taxes amid rising costs of living. Two new taxes introduced are the housing levy and the proposed universal health cover deductions have been challenged in courts, and their respective rulings are still pending as at the time of filing this report. Now away from there as well to South Africa, where South Africa are urged to stay vigilant following the detection of 2 cholera cases in northern Limpopo province. Both patients in Zimbabwe are Zimbabwean nationals who had crossed the border back into South Africa recently, the province's health department said. The department says the first case was confirmed after a 43-year-old male patient tested positive. The second case is a 27-year-old man who presented at Ellen Franz Hospital. The man is in stable condition, and both parties are currently in isolation at the hospital, the department added. The 2 cases were imported from Zimbabwe, which is currently battling the outbreak of the disease. Cholera has so far claimed more than 200 lives in Zimbabwe. The department then urged the public to remain calm but vigilant and to promptly seek medical attention if they or anyone they know experience symptoms consistent with cholera. Away now from the shores of Africa, now to Houthi, where Houthi rebels have hit a U.S.-owned cargo ship with a ballistic missile off the coast of Yemen, the U.S. says. The vessel, Gibraltar Eagle, reported no injuries or significant damage, according to the United States Military Command for the Middle East, CENTCOM. Shipping company Eagle Bulk Shipping said the bulk carrier was carrying steel products and was about 160 kilometers offshore in the Gulf of Aden when it was hit. Hours earlier, CENTCOM said that another missile fired in the direction of a U.S. destroyer in the Red Sea had been intercepted and shot down by a U.S. fighter jet. The British maritime security firm, Amber, says the Gibraltar Eagle was assessed to not be an Israel-affiliated missile. In reaction to Monday's strike, the U.S. Department of Transportation issued a maritime alert recommending that U.S. flag and U.S.-owned commercial vessels remain clear of specified areas in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. On Monday, the world's second-largest oil company, Qatar Energy, announced its decision to pause shipping via the route while it sought security advice. And on Monday, again, the UK's Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, said 13 Houthi launch sites had been destroyed by its military action. The U.S. intelligence assesses that the joint U.S. to UK airstrikes on the Houthis' military facilities have destroyed about a quarter of the arsenal. But the Houthis' chief negotiator, Mohammed Abdulsalam, told Reuters news agency that attacks on Israeli ships and those heading to Israeli ports would continue in spite of the U.S.-led airstrikes. And here is the report.
Iranian-backed Houthi militants held military exercises in Yemen just a day after being hit by U.S.-led airstrikes, more in defiance than a show of force, a flex of military muscle on land, for a battle being waged at sea. U.S. operators say the cargo ship Gibraltar Eagle was hit by an anti-ship ballistic missile 100 miles off the coast of Yemen in the Gulf of Aden. The company said the vessel suffered limited damage to the cargo hold, but that it was stable and heading out to sea with no injuries reported. The attack follows that massive U.S.-UK bombing campaign to deter assaults exactly like this. The Houthis retaliated by launching an anti-ship cruise missile toward the USS Laboon destroyer in the Red Sea before it was shot down by a fighter jet, according to U.S. military officials. Houthis say they're targeting commercial ships in solidarity with Palestinians as the conflict in Gaza reached 100 days, where Hamas released undated video showing 3 hostages speaking under duress, including Noah Argamani, The 26-year-old captured on video being taken away from the music concert on the morning of the October 7th massacre. One of more than 130 hostages that remain missing tonight. Hamas released unverified images of the two other hostages, the two men, revealing that they'd been killed while in captivity. It's not clear when that video was taken. It's also unclear about the well-being of Noah Argamani tonight. Nora?
Tough to hear that news. Charlie D'Agata.
Let's now switch focus to the U.S. presidential election ongoing. Donald Trump has won a landslide victory in the Iowa caucuses, cementing his status as the clear frontrunner for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. But Florida Governor Ron DeSantis edges out former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley, a distant second place. Trump has hailed this very special victory, telling reporters he wants to straighten up the problems of the world. Iowa is the first of the state-by-state contest where Republican voters pick their White House candidate. Haley had hoped to ride polling momentum to come second, but DeSantis' relentless campaigning in the state paid off. Meanwhile, biotech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy drops out of the race and endorses Trump. He had caused a stir in early debates but failed to regain traction. Whoever wins the Republican nomination will face a Democrat, almost certainly Joe Biden, in the November presidential election. Still in the U.S., meanwhile, entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy has dropped out of the presidential race after a disappointing finish in the Iowa caucuses and endorses Donald Trump. He added that he had spoken to Mr. Trump and planned to campaign for him. His departure further narrowed down the feud dominated by the ex-president Donald Trump. On Monday night, Donald Trump finished with an overwhelming lead in the Iowa, followed by the Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in his second and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley in third. Mr. Ramaswamy, who finished in the fourth place, was the only candidate of the night to announce his departure from the race after Iowa held its first in-the-nation votes. He pledged to put an American first candidate in the White House and said that he planned to appear at a Trump campaign rally in the New Hampshire in the coming days. The Harvard and Yale-educated son of Indian immigrants entered the race after making his fortune in the pharmaceutical industry. The 38-year-old has never held political office and his campaign has at times courted controversy for its endorsement of conspiracy theories. He promised to end birthright citizenship and affirmative action and said he would choose the Education Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, and other government agencies. Just before Iowa's caucus, Mr. Trump offered a rare criticism of Mr. Ramaswamy, calling him a fraud and telling Republicans that a vote for him will be a vote for the other side. And here is the report.
We took a little bit of time in our apartment in Des Moines before coming here to make some hard choices. And I wanted to make a couple of announcements tonight to get the business out of the way. And then I want to tell you where we're going. As of this moment, we are going to suspend this presidential campaign. And this is going to have to be, there's no path for me to be the next president, absent things that we don't want to see happen in this country. As I've said since the beginning, there are two America First candidates in this race. And earlier tonight, I called Donald Trump to tell him that I congratulated him on his victory. And now going forward, he will have my full endorsement for the presidency. And I think we're going to do the right thing for this country. And so I'm going to ask you to follow me in taking our America First movement to the next level. We talked about it tonight.
Talk series since the category's introduction in 2015. Noah said after securing the win on Monday night that the win feels like being part of a winning football team. The comedian has been nominated for the Emmy category 5 times before, but his 6th nomination, which he earned in his final season hosting The Daily Show, finally secured him the win. In September 2022, Noah shocked many of his fans when he announced his exit from The Daily Show after 7 years as host. And the search for his replacement is still ongoing. Noah has another Emmy Award, which he earned in 2017 for an outstanding short-form variety series. The Emmy Awards are the most prestigious honors in the U.S. television industry. And in sports, Jose Mourinho has been sacked as Roma manager with the club night in Serie A. The Portuguese took over in May 2021 and led Roma to the Europa Conference League title a year later and the Europa League final in 2023. But they are 5 points off Serie A's final Champions League qualifying spot and last week were knocked out of the Coppa Italia by city rivals Lazio. Owners Dan and Ryan Friedkin thanked Mourinho for the passion and commitment he has shown as boss. Victory in the 2022 Conference League secured Roma's first major European title and earned Mourinho huge support among the club's fan base. With Roma 16th in the table, the former Manchester United, Chelsea and Real Madrid and Tottenham as well boss said he had rejected the craziest offer to leave last summer. Mourinho's contract was due to expire at the end of this season. And before we end the news today, recall that you can now stream our live programs on multiple digital platforms. NetNiger TV app is where to go for Android users as well. Limex World TV app is where to go for iPhone users. Once and again, thank you for joining. My name is Anoluwapo Idowu, and on behalf of the entire news production crew as well as the executive producer of this newscast, Musola Ademilu, we say thank you for watching and do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.